In ancient times, the Amazons, a proud and fierce race of warrior women, led by their queen, Hippolyta, battled Ares, the god of war, and his army. During the battle, Hippolyta specifically targeted and beheaded her son Thrax, whom Ares forcibly conceived with her and who fought for his father. Hippolyta then defeated Ares, but Zeus stopped her from delivering the death strike. Instead, Hera bound his powers with magic braces so that he was deprived of his ability to draw power from the psychic aura of violence and death he could instigate, and only another god could release him. In compensation for their years of servitude to Ares, the Amazons were granted the island of Themyscira, where they would remain eternally youthful and isolated from man in the course of their duty of holding Ares prisoner for all eternity. Later, Hippolyta was granted a daughter, Princess Dinah, whom she shaped from the sand of the Themyscirian seashore and gave life with her own blood. Over a millennium later, Dinah is unsatisfied with her life of Themyscira and longs to explore the outside world. An American fighter pilot, USAF Colonel Steve Trevor, is shot down in a dogfight and crash lands his YF-23 on the island. He soon runs afoul of the Amazons, including the combative Artemis. Steve and Dinah meet and fight, and Dinah defeats him, taking him to the Amazons. After interrogating him with the use of the Amazons' golden lasso, Hippolyta decides he is not an enemy of the Amazons, and as such, their tradition dictates that an emissary be tasked to ensure his safe return to his own country. Dinah volunteers, but her mother argues that she has not enough experience in dealing with the dangers of the outside world. Dinah is assigned to guard Ares' cell instead. Her bookish but kind-hearted best friend and Artemis' actual younger sister Alexa offers to cover her guard duty. Defying her mother, Dinah covers her face with a helmet and participates in contests of strength, ultimately winning the right to escort Trevor home. In the meantime, the Amazon Persephone, who has been gradually seduced by Ares, kills Alexa and releases him, with the additional task of capturing Ares. Dinah brings Trevor in his repaired and now invisible jet to New York City, where he volunteers to help Dinah on her quest. An investigation uncovers a pattern of Y-link, created by Ares' presence that will lead to him given time, and the pair goes out to a bar while they wait. After some heavy drinking, Trevor makes a pass at Dinah. They argue outside, but are attacked first by thugs and then the demigod Deimos. Dinah subdues Deimos, but he kills himself to avoid interrogation. Dinah and Steve find a clue on his body that leads them to a concealed gateway to the underworld guarded by members of a still extant ancient cult of Ares. Once they have arrived, Dinah attempts to take Ares down, but he summons harpies that attack her, prompting Trevor to save her rather than stop Ares. Meanwhile, Ares performs a sacrificial ritual that opens a gate to the underworld, where he persuades his uncle Hades, who has made Thrax his slave, to remove the braces, though Hades does not tell Ares that the ultimate cost of removing the braces would be his own death in combat. Later, Dinah regains consciousness in a hospital and is furious that Trevor saved her instead of stopping Ares. Trevor argues against her abuse with his own criticism of the Amazons' self-imposed isolation and their generalizations about men, and reveals how much he cares about her. Ares and his Dark Army attack Washington, D.C. Trevor and Dinah arrive to battle Ares and are soon joined by the Amazons. While Ares manages to summon the Amazons long dead from the underworld to fight their own sisters, his scheme is stopped by Alexa, a member of the undead host, who reveals to Artemis a chant which nullifies Ares' control over them. The undead then turn on Ares, but are destroyed by his powers, including Alexa, who makes peace with her older sister before passing on. Hippolyta kills Persephone in combat, but with her dying breath Persephone makes it clear that in shutting the Amazons away from the world of man, Hippolyta has denied them the happiness that comes with love and a family. Meanwhile, Air's influence reaches the President of the United States, who orders a nuclear missile against Themyscira, assuming the island nation to be the source of the attack on Washington. This act of supreme aggression greatly increases Air's power, but Trevor takes the invisible jetter. Andy shoots down the missile just before it hits the island. After taking a brutal beating at Air's hands, Dinah finally outmaneuvers and beheads him. As Trevor arrives back at the scene, Dinah finally accepts him, and the two share a kiss. While Ares is condemned to the underworld to attend Hades as a slave alongside his son. Later on Themyscira, in memory of Alexa, Artemis with some difficulty takes up reading. Realizing that Dinah misses both the outside world and Trevor, and to make her happy again, Hippolyta gives her daughter the task of being a channel for communication between men and women. Dinah accepts and returns to New York, where she enjoys the company of Trevor. Their relationship comes with the understanding of her larger duties, such as when Dinah sees Cheetah robbing a museum and she excuses herself to stop the super-villainess as the newly christened Wonder Woman.